What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is E-Dub, and you're watching the Big Beautiful Podcast. The Big Beautiful Podcast, sponsored by Zuma.app. Zuma.app. You got an app, you got to market it to the world, right? Try Zuma.app. No more red tape. Anyway, I've been watching the past few days this Foolio trial. Foolio trial. And first of all, I never ever knew who the hell Foolio was. I can't name one single song by Foolio. If I heard Foolio sung right now, I wouldn't know it was Foolio. I don't know. Can somebody tell me what does Foolio even Foolio? When you hear that name, what do you think of? I think of fool. Foolio, fool. I mean, what else you gonna think? The man is admitting that he's a fool, right? So you got these cats, 4, 5 cats who done three life away by taking Foolio's life, you know, and there's nothing that I could say, pretty much, that hasn't been said. I mean, people are wondering why. Why would these young men, go down that road? Where'd they go left? And the one cat, the light skinned dude, light skinned brother, they said he had it all. Lived in a beautiful crib in Florida, had a mom and pop, basketball camp. He was a little model kid. But he went left. He went left. So, like I said, what can I say that really, really hasn't been said right here on the Big Beautiful Podcast? But I think what should happen now is, at this point, what's done is done. Okay. Those 5 kids are gone. Fulio's gone. We can't bring none of them back. They all got life. Right? Foolio, he's got death. And we can do about it at this point. You know what I'm saying? Just talk about it until it's third. But what we should be doing, in my opinion, is at this point trying to prevent that happening to 6 more people. Trying to prevent that death. Trying to prevent 5 more kids going left like that and completely throwing their lives away. How can we prevent this? How can we prevent this? And the most, there's pretty much no solution. I mean, this is the world that we live in. We live in this world, and it's going to be death. Folks going to get shot up. Kids going to do crazy stuff, and that's just the way it is. But at what point do we take the time to analyze really what's going on? We got to analyze these kids. We got to talk to these kids. Foolio, we can't talk to him. Okay, we know he was on the wrong path. We know that. He was on the wrong path. You can tell it just by his name and his look. You can look at him and see he on the wrong path. You got tattoos on your neck, all on your body like, you know this kid, he's on the wrong path. Music, come on now. The music, I haven't heard any of his music, but I'm willing to guarantee you he talks about pretty much what happened to him in some of his music. Maybe doing it to other people. Like I said, I haven't heard the music, so I really can't say. I'm just saying, but this is what I'm thinking. With the name Foolio, and looking at him, he's talking about some Erda. And you know it rhymes with Erda. Probably talking about doing some, there's talk that he even got some bodies himself, so you know what I'm saying? So, so how do we prevent this from happening to the next 5 kids that's coming up that's in grammar school now? So you got some kids who are in grammar school, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, gonna be going down that path. Gonna be in the same situation. These courtrooms ain't shutting down. These prisons ain't shutting down. You know what I'm saying? These cops ain't getting laid off. These prosecutors ain't getting laid off. These judges ain't getting laid off. So it's coming. Next year, 6 months from now, next week, it's gonna be another Foolio. There's gonna be 5 other idiots out there. It's gonna be somebody in the court crying. Come on now, too late for all that. Too late for all that. But where I stand is, how do we even attempt to prevent the next 5 kids from being in that situation? How do we attempt to stop the Foolios of the world, you know, to to attack? That's what's happening. Attack the minds of these kids. So I think that what needs to be done is these kids who are involved need to be studied. They need to be studied from A to Z. Study these kids. So what we do is we just take these kids, we put them in prison, we just move on to the next case. No, we gotta stop. We gotta stop. Study these kids. I want to know more about these kids. I want to know their daily routines. I want to know who their friends were. I want to know how they dressed, what shoes did they wear. I want to know it all. I want to know what shoes did you wear, what music did you listen to, what videos did you watch, what did you smoke? Did you smoke? What did you smoke? Did you drink? What did you drink, and how much did you drink? Right? See, all this is factors. All these are factors that should be considered, so we can try to stop the next 5 kids from going down this path. We need to figure this out. I want to know: did you smoke weed every single day? Did you drink Hennessy, Douce, every single day? What was your life like? See, if we look at these kids and break it down to the core of who these kids were and how they got that way and what made them turn left, maybe then we can look at the kids who haven't turned left yet and love. All these are factors, and especially the music. You know, did you grow up listening to Foolio? Is that what got in your head? Did Foolio himself make you think that this was cool? So, like I said, we gotta analyze these kids. Analyze these kids. Find out exactly, because we always assuming. You always assume. You can't assume. Can't assume. I want to actually hear it from these kids. I want to hear from these kids. What was it? Did you have parents in the home? Did you not have parents in the home? What schools did you attend? What classes did you take? Because all this stuff had to play a part in motivating you to be where you are now. So, like I said, if we take time and study these kids, because when we see them in court, they got the suits on, they done cut the dreads off their hair. You know what I'm saying? They trying to look like they're productive members of society, which we know they ain't, but they're trying to appear to be. And in some cases, we look at them and say, "Oh, them just some normal kids." Them kids ain't normal. Them kids are not normal. They're not normal. What they did is not normal. So we need to try to figure out what makes them think in their mind that what they were doing was normal. What do you think? What are you thinking? Now, I have kids personally. And I have to say that none of my kids have ever been incarcerated. None of my kids has never committed murder. My kids are all pretty much, for the most part, successful. You know, and I'm very proud of that. So you look at these kids also. So what is it about my kids that made them go down the right path? What schools did they attend? You know, did they drink or smoke or get high? You know what I'm saying? What video games did they play? What movies did they enjoy? You know what I'm saying? How did their parents influence them? All these things this needs to be studied. This needs to be studied. And if we do this study, I think that we can prevent the next 5 kids from going down that path. If we can see what these kids did right, what these kids did wrong, what my kids did right. Maybe at some point in a kid's life, we can intervene and stop. Say, ho, 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 ho. Now, this is the same pattern that Foolio, you know, that whole tribe start to do. They start to do the same thing you doing, and you see where it got there. So if you do X, Y, and Z, you're gonna wind up in the same situation. And also, what happens? Parents can also have kind of they can have kind of a visual of what to expect if these kids do some of the same things that these kids did. You know, for example, one of the kids says, "Well, you know what? I drank Hennessy every single day." Okay, and which is gonna, of course, alter your freaking mental. So now you got your kid over here loving Hennessy. So you gotta, at that point you can intervene. You can say, hey, 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 hey. Drinking Hennessy every single day ain't gonna work. It's gonna alter your mental, and you're gonna wind up, in court crying, talking about you sorry, and you read the Bible from cover to cover. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. So we gotta figure out what's going on with these kids. You know, we can't just say, you know, they grew up in the wrong crowd, or you know what I'm saying, they had some bad influences. We got to really get down to the meat of who these kids really were and why they made such horrible, horrible decisions. My name is Edub. This is the Big Beautiful Podcast, and we're sponsored by Zoma. Zoma.app. You got an app? Market it to the world with Zoma. Until next time, peace, y'all.